Hello, this is Richard C. Wilson with the Family Office Club, and today we have with us Nijin, who's here to talk about what her investment mandate is, what she's looking for in terms of deal flow. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Richard, for having me. And, it's always been a pleasure speaking on your panel, attending your different, conferences in London, in New York, and, quite rich in content. And also the audience are quite diversified, which is quite a, fresh breeze, let's say. I'm all yours. How can I help?
Sure. Let's start with what type of an investor are you, and if there is a name to your investment organization, we could share that as well.
Right. So, as you know, I'm the family office principal of EE Corporate Group. We are a US and UK domicile business. Not only we do investing, but also we used to do a lot of club deals. Now we do co-investments with select few family offices in our network. And also we have two other family offices as part of a alliance of our family office network, where we all go into each mandate, which is each individual family's, let's say, preferred sector, and invest. Our family office has always been an ambassador for healthcare and life sciences, and that is where we have been involved in for a long time, and currently we are even more involved.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. And so healthcare and life sciences, can you be more specific in terms of stage of the company, early stage seed, or is it at more of a early private equity stage or in between?
Yes, so no, it's not seed, it's clearly early stage, and also we have just gone into the space of round D as opposed to just earlier stage and pre-IPO, but that is very recent. At the very beginning, we established ourselves in pharma and life sciences, based on the fact that we wanted to make sure that we empower these entrepreneurs. And the whole purpose of EE Corporate Group was to make sure we act as a bridge between the UK and the US. We take IP-rich businesses from elite universities and entrepreneurs here to the US and get the funding and pave the path for let's say clinical trials, submissions and market entry. We're mainly involved in healthcare, and simply because one, it's fascinating. Two, it's always solves a problem, and a problem that is the biggest problem in anyone's life. Any sort of health associated issue can create a lot of discomfort for any person, regardless of who they are, where they are. That becomes, the most important puzzle to sort out before they can proceed with any other objectives in their lives, in my opinion. And the other reason we are involved in healthcare is simply because it totally steers us clear of any political, religious, any sort of affiliations or debates or discussions potentially out there. It has nothing to do with any sort of, debates out there, no sanctions, and it's a primary need for every human being. You've muted yourself.
Right. So one question I had was for life science and healthcare investors who are maybe afraid of, FDA approval processes, if that doesn't go well, or testing the efficacy of something. Do you have any advice for navigating that in the different stages of regulatory approval, or do you stay away from those types of investments yourself?
No, we do not actually. As Warren Buffett says, I strongly believe that as a leader, you have to be fearful when everybody else is greedy, and be greedy when everybody else is fearful. And that is, if you are after creating a change and also make money for yourself and the people who invest alongside you, you need to make sure you look at investment mandates that are not too, all the way in towards the end pre-IPO, because the opportunity sits with the earlier stage companies that are pre-FDA, and also there sits the risk. But of course, if you want to create a change and leave a legacy, that's where you get involved. The upside risk is quite high. How we mitigate that risk is we have 11 executives reporting on 10 different sections of a prospectus, our due diligence pack. We interview the executives, we go through their entire press releases, then our analysts write a full report on market opportunity, where it is, and then our group risk officer writes a full report on the risks associated to the investors in terms of jurisdiction, in terms of the sector, in terms of regulations, and then our IP and patents specialists do the same. So, and we do the evaluation internally and exchange notes externally. The whole point of this is because in the family office space, I came across a lot of family office friends who asked for our help simply because there was this strategy where it was a spray and pray, and they had invested and of course they'd lost their money. So if it's pre-FDA, if all the due diligence pack is there, if you're made aware of the risks involved, and if you've done your homework, the team are reputable, they have performance track records, and also they have the right team to go through the FDA channels, or even for obtaining CE marks sometimes, I don't think, I don't see any reason why one should be fearful.
Right. So that makes sense. I think a lot of families struggle with that. And I think that when people are just getting started with investing, investing with another family or through a sponsor or a fund, or co-investing with families that have that research ability, can help make other investors better. I think a lot of times people are just afraid that their own due diligence process is really not rigorous enough. They don't know what they don't know. So I find that especially within early stage life sciences deals. My last question here is about your number one piece of advice, something maybe that you wish you knew 10 years ago for an investor who's listening here. What would you provide to them?
My number one piece of advice is don't follow the trend simply because the person you play golf with or you ride with is following that trend. And it's a commercial real estate may be someone's cup of tea, but not necessarily mine. And because it's not, I don't put my heart in it, and it ends up being a spray and pray again if I go into it. Therefore, trust your gut and just stick to what you are good at and what you understand, as opposed to trying to please the peer group or following just a specific trend.
Right, which is also kind of a Warren Buffett style mentality. I'm actually reading through this yellow book of 60 years worth of annual letters that he's written, and you can get them in a book. And some of the things that you mentioned here, obviously in line with how he thinks. So I appreciate you sharing that. What's the best way for a member to get in touch with you and share a deal that might fit your mandate?
So on our portal, we have a submit a proposal button on, as in one word. So it's proposal. Then it comes to our analysts. They provide the executive summary. We discuss it internally every week. And then we decide which mandates we will be looking at as family office alliances, and we'll start the work on.
Right. Okay. Great. Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time here today, and I hope to see you again on one of our virtual panels here shortly. Likewise. Stay safe, and thank you so much for this opportunity. You too. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye. You too. Bye-bye.